Crafters, this is Paulette. It's already time for February 2014's name tags. I've got my little cheat sheet here according to the name tag badges that I have, and these came from Walmart. My little cards need to be 2.5 by 3 1/4, so I've already cut those out. I thought I would talk a little bit about my process of choosing what will fit on this very small card. So I bring my stamp sets over and just kind of look through here. If they're a wood stamp, I lay them on here, stack them all out, and see what will actually work. I chose this month to be very individual about it. Some of the ladies at card class or the extra card party that I go to during the month have lost their husbands. Some of the girls are young enough, they're not even married yet. So I didn't want it to be that kind of a lovey-dovey card this time. I thought just an individual item, and this was not even a Valentine's Day image. I just made it a Valentine's Day image. So, you know, be open to looking at that kind of thing as well. I really thought I was going to put this little dog on here. I loved him, and he's got the rose in his mouth, and I thought that would be really fun too. But I didn't have a Valentine type sentiment that would fit. Now, I could have used probably this Friends Forever, and that would have been perfect to go with this little dog. And that would have fit on here. I could have put it over to the side like this, and then there still would have been room for the person's name. So that's how I size things up. I just actually lay them on the card and go from there. But I just thought this lamb would be really sweet. I also chose this big Happy Valentine's Day sentiment that is out of Wacky Wishes set. This is a set that Dorothy gave us. I don't even remember. Let's see. It was for Christmas. So, and it has this wonderful Valentine's Day sentiment. So, I thought that was really nice. So, I'm going to go ahead and put that on my block. And I have cut, and I probably will, all of them. I have cut this word off of the bottom of that. All of these in this set have those attached to the stamp. And, you know, since they're at the bottom, that would have been probably easy enough to selectively only ink that image. But, I don't know. I just felt like it would be easier for me personally to go ahead and cut it off. So I've taken it off just to make it easier for me. And then I have one tiny little stamp set by Paper Tray Ink, and it is these punny, it's called Year-Round Puns, and it's just really funny little things. You warm my heart, nothing better than a true friend, go nuts, it's your day. There's normal, welcome, happy birthday. Birthdays are the very best. Happy harvest. But what I'm going to use out of this is there's two little words, to you, E-W-E, like the sheep. And I thought that was funny. So I love a play on words. So we're going to use that tiny little stamp. And then I've got one other tiny little stamp that I want to use. Oh, and I've lost, here it is, lost my stamp block for my 2U, so get that on there. Also, Paper Tray Ink has this Shutterbug Special, and while I was looking at this, I was looking at it to see if there were any Valentine messages. There's a tiny little heart in here, so I'm going to use this tiny little heart, and I've already got it mounted. So let's get our stamping going here. We're using Ranger Archival Jet Black ink. And I always start with my main image first. I'm going to just stamp him down here on the bottom. And we'll do a couple, since we're watercoloring. Now I didn't get a very good impression on this leg, so I'm just going to take this marker, fill it in. Good as new. Alright, let's go ahead and do our sentiment. And when I made my first couple of tags, I thought, oh, I probably could have stamped that in red, and I surely could have. But I think it worked out okay. I came back and did the red with those little hearts, and I think that worked out good. So we'll let that dry a little bit. I'm not going to stamp the heart until the very end, because I don't want the water to dilute it in any way. So let's go ahead and put our 2U on here. And for the month, I was going to use this Smash stamp, and I just don't know that that's going to work out very well now. I could stamp it on the edge, but then I don't want that to be anywhere near the area of that. So I think what I'm going to do is I'll probably come back with my Just Right stamper and stamp a tiny little FEB down here in the corner, because I didn't really leave enough space for my normal stamp set, which is that the Paper Studio months of the year. So, or I could just, I could just handwrite it. That may be what I do. Alright, so we've got all that stamping done. I'm going to use a couple of Crayola washable markers. I've got a very pale pink, the lightest green, and then I have one of the grays. And in my washable markers, I have 3 grays. So I have drawn them out on a piece of cardstock to decide which one I want, and chose the one that was the most true gray. I've got just a blank acrylic block here, and I am going to scribble my gray on here, and that's where I'm going to pick that up to color my sheep. And I've got an aqua painter, so I will just squeeze some water out here, and then we'll use that in just a moment. I'm going to go ahead and color just a little bit the inside of the ear on this ear, and then just a little bit on the outside of that ear. A little pink down here where the mouth is. And I think that's good. Let's do this one too. I have not colored sheep before this little card, so I have no idea how you're supposed to color sheep. And I don't have any pictures of sheep, so we're winging it today. If you're not sure about how that's going to look, don't be afraid to take a scratch piece of cardstock and just, color some on there and see what you think. And I think that's a nice light gray, so we're going to start with that. And I'm just going to dab kind of around the face. I'm going to make a swoosh here where the legs would be, kind of the hips and shoulder, and then just a little bit around, a little bit on the legs. And then I'm going to come back and just kind of swirl around to mimic fur. And the cool thing about doing any kind of watercolor, it doesn't matter if you're using markers or your water-based re-inkers, you can always come back and add more. After it dries, always you can come back and add more. So That makes it nice and easy. Add a little bit more to the face of that one. And it dries pretty quick, so, and if you're doing a whole line of them, it goes fast. And then you come back and add as you like to your heart's content. So I'm okay with those. So we can do away with this. I'm going to color the grass with this palest green. And then I'm going to dilute that too. It's what I love about these Crayola washable markers. I'm just going to pull that green along. And I could have used, I didn't have enough. I'm going to bring this up here and get a little bit of green over here on the side, so I can have a little bit for the end of this card. So we're done with that. I think our sheep are dry enough. I can do the stamping for the little heart. So let's do that next. I'm going to use real red for that. And after I stamped these, they seemed kind of blah. That was my original idea, so then it evolved into a couple of more hearts to bring this red color up. And then we probably need to clip the corners. That one didn't do very good, so I'll just redo it. And then I'm going to sponge in some Pixie Pink. And we'll see how this goes. I dipped my sponge in the red ink earlier. I'm going to swirl this around on my glass top here, just to blend it into the sponge a little bit more. And I got a little vigorous on these. The pink came way over into my sheep. I'm going to try not to do that this time. So there we go, pretty cute, and I think I will just go ahead and hand write the February in. It's not a big deal. The month doesn't really have to be on there. but it's so the ladies know which month the tag is for, because they change them out each month, and they don't know unless they look at the back where I stamped my name and my date on the back. So anyway, that turned out really cute, and as usual, if you have any questions, be sure and let me know. And just use what you have. You know, if you have fun Valentine's Day stamps that will fit on what you're doing, then use them. And if you don't, take something just really cute and sweet and turn it into a Valentine, or any holiday for that matter. Thanks for joining me.